What's up, guys? This is Tom Burkhart in the 2017 Mazda 6 Grand Touring. Ooh, 2017 Mazda 6 is refreshed with something that's new called G vectoring control, which enhances the interplay between the steering and the drivetrain to give you a more precise steering feel and more of a rear drive handling feel than was previously possible with any front drive cars. So excited to try out this G vectoring control on Twisty Road here down in South Carolina. It seems to work. The car has always been one of the best looking in its segment for this generation, which came out in 2014, 2015, and for 2017, only some detailed tweaks outside with some new colors, but lots of new cabin enhancements that we'll touch on shortly, and then of course this G vectoring control, which is pretty new and pretty fresh. The car seems to handle really, really well. I'm really pleased with it in this first like 2 minutes. You can get a sense of how cars drive on the street, but you really need to be able to sort of push them in dynamic situations to see how they're gonna really handle. And this Mazda 6 is a delight right now. So 2017 Mazda 6 with this GVC. So what is G vectoring control? Okay, so I've tried to learn it as much as I can before this video, so I can talk you guys through it. But essentially what it is it tailors the steering's effort and how much torque is delivered to the engine itself around corners in a way that is designed to optimize the feel of the car and lessen the load on the front tires. So to give you a more even split between front and rear, which of course enhances handling feel and actual lap time performance. So how does G vectoring control do that? So there's a couple ways that it does it, and but the biggest one is that it's an interplay between this direct injected Skyactiv G 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, which makes 184 horsepower and 185 pounds of torque. Really good refinement all the way up to and well past legal speeds here, and decent brakes. The brakes need a pretty firm shove, but once you've got some braking heat, some braking power there in your foot, then there's good braking performance. And this G vectoring control, so what it does is it essentially, as you're entering a corner, it cuts torque that's coming from the engine, and by cutting torque, it actually moves the center of gravity of the car, or the balance of the car, back toward the rear tires more. And then right as you're coming out of a corner, you get that torque back, and that in turn enhances how the car can come out of corners. So it seems to work. The steering is always pretty good and hefty, but around those corners, it really does firm up and provide a lot of feel and keep the car feeling really balanced. There's none of that sort of like front drive nose heavy sort of feel that you definitely get in many Camrys or Accords as they're at their limits of handling. So definitely none of that in this Mazda 6, which is very, very good to report. And its overall drive manners are pretty fun, pretty playful. We've got drive modes here with just sport and normal. So I've been in sport this whole time, but we'll try it back in normal. Normal is changes the gearing for the 6-speed automatic transmission, or its gear preferences, so that it's generally in a higher gear to optimize for fuel economy, and it doesn't kick down as readily. Whereas sport firms up the steering in general, and then keeps you in a more performance-oriented gear versus always upshifting right away to give you maximum economy. It wants to give you the most throttle response possible, and it definitely seems to work. So, how is Mazda the first person to come up with this like G vectoring control? You know, hasn't every manufacturer who's making front drive sedans been trying to do this or front drive vehicles been trying to do this ever since front drive vehicles were first created in the 40s and 50s? Yes, they have. But essentially, there wasn't the amount of precision in those engines and drivetrains to handle a dynamic and instantaneous decrease in power outputs. So where G vectoring control is Mazda's ace in the hole is that their Skyactiv G power plants are able to, really strong brakes once you give them a firm shove. The Skyactiv G control is able to, the Skyactiv G drivetrain is so much more responsive and more precise to throttle inputs and to its electronic programming, that it is able to do that in those instances where you're coming around corners, where you're entering those things, and where GVC, this G vectoring control, would be beneficial. So Mazda has leveraged their Skyactiv G efficiency philosophy with this enhanced G vectoring control to just make the most of what they're already doing, the most of what these cars already do well, which is handle great, drive in a fun way, and feel premium inside and out, like a luxury brand. Little stuff all around the Mazda 6 feels really premium and classy. So we'll go on to like point 2. So what were the upgrades for 2017 in the Mazda 6's cabin? Well, as you might have seen in the walk-around video that we just shot moments ago, and it's probably posted next to this one, the Mazda 6 has a bunch of cabin enhancements, especially for this Grand Touring and Grand Touring Premium trim in particular. The biggest one is that you have Napa leather upholstery. So this is the super soft leather and with nice contrast piping. So that is unique to the GT Premium and new for this year. Then you also have a full color heads-up display here, which is in this little clear panel right there, which displays your active safety stuff. You've also got almost a 4.6-inch TFT panel screen right here in the right gauge, so I can get a good sense of what my active safety systems are doing, and have just a really precise trip computer, which is you know, not to be taken for granted in these midsize sedans. Of course, we do have a new steering wheel for 2017, which is really nice. It's sort of like Miata-like in how sporty it is in this small, compact boss. Shift paddles here in the Grand Touring Premium. Nice. That will definitely rev you into the rev limiter. And then you can just hold this one to turn off the shift paddles. So that is pretty nice. Other tweaks to the GT Premium package include this dark headliner, which is new for 17. Dark headliner, and as well as enhanced comfort stuff. So you got like heated seats up front, of course. Oh shoot, sorry about that. That was me going into the rev limiter. And we also got heated steering wheel now and heated back seats. Other little like detail tweaks is there's a lot more sound deadening. This was already a really quiet car versus its rivals, especially when you're just cruising like this. The engine is the loudest part still. So for 2017, they've added a ton of insulation and sealing around the doors and center console and in many other places to make the car even quieter. So it really hangs on. I think this G vectoring control might work. I thought the car handled great before, but there's always room for improvement. So, so you've got lots more sound deadening, and then little premium touches here and there on this GT Premium, like metallic metal skid plate, sill plates, I should say, with Mazda branding, and then italicized little power seat control buttons. So like this is detail stuff, but the car was already really good. So Mazda is just really trying to reinforce its position as, you know, price like a Toyota, but quality like a Lexus, and styling that looks a little bit like an Infiniti. So that's a good promise, and if they can achieve that, then it's a huge deal, and it's something that should make buyers think twice before they buy their default choice, or whatever they think is just going to be the best. Because once you drive these different cars, you really see that you know, Camry has kind of been stagnating. The new Accord is pretty impressive. I have not driven it, but I've heard good things. And but overall, like things like Fusion and Malibu and stuff are still like pretty bad. So people who are driving those cars should be driving this. Closest rival for the Mazda 6, I'd say, is probably like Subaru Legacy, or potentially like the Audi A3. I mean, that's how good the Mazda 6 is in terms of its cabin feel and its exterior premiumness. It really can compete with that Audi, but it just happens to have a much bigger cabin than the A3. It's much wider and has a much bigger back seat, but really is about as quiet and is about as nice to drive. So this road is definitely giving the car a little bit of a workout. Brakes feel good. I really like I like the handling feel in general. I think that the weakest link of the Mazda 6 at this point might be this this 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, or the 6-speed manual, or excuse me, the 6-speed automatic transmission, which is down a couple gears. It is a traditional torque converter automatic, which is great versus a CVT, like from Honda or Subaru, but is not like ideal for performance people who might want an 8-speed automatic and a little bit more power. I think we might see that in the next couple of years with the turbocharged engine range rolling out across the Mazda lineup. But for now, this Mazda 6 does everything you could possibly ask of it and more, and is better than you think it could be at these prices. So 2017 Mazda 6, gorgeous outside. We're wearing a new machine gray exterior color. It's like a $300 option, but otherwise, this GT Premium includes like everything you might want in a standard, excluding heated seats, I should say. It's you know, bi-LED low and high beams, LED daytime running lights, LED fogs, LED brakes, all this stuff inside is like super modern. LED lit. Other upgrades for 2017 include the active cruise control system, and then new for 17 lane keep system that works really well and is really easy to use. So that's very, very good. You've got other good stuff like blind spot monitoring system and cross traffic alert, emergency city braking in front. You know, just really bang up to date in terms of its technology. This stuff is pretty easy to use. You've got the stuff is off right now, but you know, you can just go. You got all your satellite radio stuff right there. Electronic parking brake. I mean, little things that are like too premium for this segment, the Mazda 6 has. So that's a really good way of enhancing its perceived value and enticing drivers of rival sedans, inferior sedans, to try out the Mazda 6. I think it definitely is worth it if for this great steering feel alone, which versus a Camry is like in another world. I mean, this car, you know, is still front drive at its core, but really going around those corners, I had no sense of understeer. I had no sense of like vagueness in the steering as you're entering a corner, and all that weight is on the car as you're braking up to the corner, which is a big problem with big front drive sedans. No sense of that, so that's all good. And then just overall a real sense of the front and rear of the car working together with that independent suspension all around to keep it precise, you know, to keep it handling perfectly and to improve confidence and stability. So that's good when you're driving wild, but it's also good for people who like aren't as experienced of drivers on twisty roads like that, or for driving in inclement weather or anything like that. I mean, that's where the G vectoring control is intended to really make sure that this Mazda 6 is always pure and heads right where it's pointed. So very impressive stuff from Mazda. I'm really pleased to have been given the chance to drive this car, and I know you guys would really like it too. It drives awesome, looks gorgeous, and it doesn't cost very much. So the Mazda 6 is available with a 6-speed manual or an automatic up and down its trim lines for the most part, or maybe a stick only at the bottom of the range. But anyway, pricing is from about $22,000 for the most affordable entries. I think the brakes could be a little bit stronger. But, you know, this isn't a pure performance special. This is just like their SE version, their XSE rival, or Accord Sport rival. But anyway, so and then you go into the Touring, which is like $24,000-$25,000, and then the Grand Touring, which our car started from about $31,000, and then with this optional paintwork and the $2,500 GT Premium package, takes our total to $34,530 out the door. Great value at that price. I mean, you could spend more on a Camry, or you know, 10 grand more on that Audi A3 with all this equipment, but I don't think that the cars are any better. I think that this Mazda 6 is one of the best out there, and I'll be willing to bet you. Go drive the car. Definitely a good steer, and the enhancements for 2017 to increase the quietness and comfort inside, as well as all the luxury touches inside, are very nice and effective. I mean, this car feels premium and classy from the first time you sit in it, and every time you're sitting in it after that. Very effective upgrade from Mazda. Would love to see it with like a turbo engine and maybe some of a little bit of a better transmission, but until then, this is still one of the best cars out there, and at its price, it might be the best one going, bar none. Thanks.